Arsenic. The word hung in the air of the quiet cafe, cold, sharp, clinical. My friend Sarah, her doctor's composure warring with horrified disbelief, pointed a trembling finger at the toxicology report. Significant traces, Anjali. Accumulated over time. In your hair, your blood. And yes, in the soup sample you brought me. There's no doubt. My breath hitched. It wasn't grief. It wasn't age. It wasn't stress making me waste away, making my world tilt and spin, making me feel like a fading photograph. It was her. Mir. My daughter-in-law. The smiling, solicitous woman who called me mom, who fussed over my meals. She was poisoning me. Slowly, deliberately, hoping I'd just disappear. The confirmation was terrifying, but beneath the fear, a cold, hard anger began to burn. He thought I was weak, fading. She had no idea the fight she'd just started. Before all this horror began, my life was quiet. Especially after my dear husband, Raj, passed away 2 years ago. Our house, nestled on a leafy suburban street, felt too large, too silent. I'm Anjali, 62 years young as I like to say, though grief had certainly aged me more than the years themselves. Raj and I had built a comfortable life here. He'd loved the garden, fussing over his roses, while I filled the house with the scent of baking and the warmth of family. After he was gone, the silence became a presence, heavy and constant. My son, Samir, our only child, worried endlessly about me being alone. He was my rock, but he lived an hour away with his wife, Mira. Even then she was an enigma. Perfectly presented, always poised, her smile quick and bright but rarely reaching her eyes. She'd been married to Samir for 3 years. I'd tried to welcome her, hoping for the daughter I never had, but there was always a distance, a carefully constructed wall I couldn't seem to breach. Still, Samir adored her and his happiness was paramount. I filled my days with my book club, my gardening circle, and long chats with my oldest friend, Sarah, trying to navigate this new solitary chapter. The house held memories, both comforting and painful, but it was mine. My sanctuary. Then about 6 months after Raj died, Samir proposed the idea. He sat across from me at the kitchen table, his expression earnest. Mom, Mira and we've been thinking, we hate you being here alone. This house is too much for one person. What if we moved in? Just for a while. We could help out, keep you company. Mira's amazing around the house, she really wants to take care of you. My first instinct was resistance. This was my space, our space, Raj's and mine. Sharing it felt like another loss. But exhaustion warred with pride. The grief was a heavy cloak, the loneliness a constant ache. The thought of daily company, of Samir nearby, of Mira's youthful energy perhaps reviving the house's spirit. It was tempting. Maybe it would be good. Maybe it would ease the burden. Against my better judgment, driven by loneliness and a desire to please my son, I agreed. I imagined shared laughter, cozy evenings. I never imagined I was inviting a viper into my nest. Their arrival was a whirlwind of boxes and forced enthusiasm. Samir seemed genuinely happy to be back under the family roof, whistling as he hauled furniture. Mira, with quiet determination, immediately took charge, especially in the kitchen. Mom, please, she insisted from day one, gently guiding me towards a chair whenever I ventured near the stove. You've done enough cooking for a lifetime. Let me handle this. It's my pleasure to look after you. Her smile was wide, practiced. Her cooking was intense. Complex curries, rich sauces, elaborate desserts even on ordinary Tuesdays. It was a far cry from the simpler fare Raj and I preferred. Samir, however, was thrilled. Mom, isn't Mira incredible? I haven't eaten this well in years. I'd force a smile, murmuring agreement, trying to swallow the slightly cloying richness along with my reservations. I chided myself for being resistant to change, for not appreciating her efforts. The first alarm bell, faint but distinct, rang about a month later. I'd mentioned feeling a bit tired, run down. The next day, Mira presented me with a special lentil soup. Just for you, Mom, she beamed. Full of iron and things to give you energy. It smelled fragrant, heavily spiced. But the first spoonful, there was something else underneath. A faint, unpleasant tang. Metallic, bitter, like licking an old coin. I couldn't quite place it, masked as it was by chili and cumin. I managed about half the bowl, the strange taste making me feel prematurely full. That night was awful. Not just fatigue but a profound weariness that settled deep in my bones. Nausea rolled over me in waves and my stomach cramped painfully. I barely slept, tossing and turning, feeling clammy and weak. By morning I felt drained, hollowed out. Mira appeared at my bedside, her face etched with concern. "Oh, Mom. You poor thing. You look dreadful. Was it the soup? Oh dear, maybe it was too rich for you. I feel simply terrible." Her hand fluttered near my forehead. Samir hovered nearby, his brow furrowed. "Must be a stomach bug, Mom. Stay in bed. Mira will take care of everything. Don't worry about a thing." I tried to believe it was just a bug. But as the days turned into weeks, the bug never fully left. It morphed into a persistent, low-grade malaise. The acute nausea faded, replaced by a constant, nagging lethargy. Getting out of bed felt like lifting lead weights. And Mira's attentiveness became almost suffocating. Special teas for vitality, nutrient-packed smoothies she insisted I drink, always watching me closely as I consumed them. "Feeling better today, Mom? Is the tea helping?" Her questions felt less like concern and more like data collection. That faint metallic tang sometimes reappeared, elusive, making me question my own senses. Was I imagining it? Was grief playing tricks on my mind, on my taste buds? The unease grew, a tiny seed of doubt planted in the fertile ground of my vulnerability. The subtle decline continued, insidious, relentless. It wasn't a sudden collapse, but a slow erosion of my strength and well-being. The dizzy spells became more frequent, sometimes catching me off guard as I stood up, forcing me to clutch at furniture, the room swimming gently. A dull ache settled into my joints, different from the sharp twinges of arthritis I occasionally felt. My fingers and toes would sometimes tingle with a strange numbness that came and went without explanation. Food, once a pleasure, became a source of low-key anxiety. My doctor, Dr. Evans, a kind man who had treated Raj and me for years, was sympathetic but ultimately unhelpful. He ran the standard blood panels. "Everything looks fine, Anjali," he reported, peering at the results. "A little low on vitamin D perhaps, but nothing alarming. Grief takes a tremendous toll. And stress. It can manifest in very physical ways. Plus, we're not spring chickens anymore, are we?" He patted my hand, suggesting rest and maybe a mild antidepressant. His dismissal stung. This wasn't just grief. This felt chemical. Mira, who insisted on accompanying me, to make sure I remember everything the doctor says, Mom, nodded sagely throughout the consultation. "See," she said gently in the car on the way home. "It's just stress and missing Dad. You need to let go, Mom. Relax. Let me take care of things. Don't worry your head about anything." Her words were meant to soothe, but they felt like tightening chains. Her control over the household and over me grew stronger under the guise of loving care. She started helping with my mail, sorting through it before I saw it. She'd answer the phone more often. "Oh, Sarah called while you were napping," she'd report brightly. "I told her you were very tired and needed your rest, but that I'd pass on her love." My connection to the outside world was being carefully curated, filtered through Mira. Visitors were gently discouraged. "Mom's having a bad day today," she'd murmur apologetically to a friend from my book club who stopped by unannounced. "She needs absolute quiet." My world shrank to the confines of the house, my energy levels dictating that I spent more and more time resting on the sofa or in bed. And Mira was always there, hovering, watching, especially at mealtimes. I became hyper-aware of how she served me. My portion always seemed slightly different, perhaps with an extra drizzle of sauce, or a specific piece of meat set aside. The metallic tang, when it appeared, was almost always in something she designated specifically as mine. One evening she prepared my favorite dish, a creamy chicken korma. "I made it extra mild just for you, Mom," she announced, placing the bowl before me. I hesitated, the smell suddenly seeming too rich, too cloying. I took a small bite. The familiar, unpleasant metallic undertone was definitely there, stronger this time. I pushed the bowl away gently. "Thank you, Mira. It looks lovely, but my appetite is just gone today. Her smile tightened almost imperceptibly. Mom, you have to eat. You're getting so thin. Look at you. He picked up the spoon. Just a few more bites. For me. There was an insistence in her tone that bordered on demanding. Samir looked over, concerned. Mom, Mira worked so hard on this. You should try to eat a little. He meant well, my dear blind Samir. He saw a caring wife trying to nourish his ailing mother. He didn't see the calculation in her eyes. That night, I feigned sleep when Mira brought me a calming herbal tea before bed. As soon as she left the room, I poured it down the bathroom sink, rinsing the cup thoroughly. The suspicion was no longer a faint whisper. It was a cold, hard knot in my stomach. What was she putting in my food? And why? Though I circled relentlessly in my mind. The house. Raj's life insurance, which had left me financially secure. Was she that impatient? That cruel? It seemed monstrous, unbelievable. Yet the evidence of my own failing body was undeniable. I started secretly documenting my symptoms, the dates, what I ate, trying to find a pattern she couldn't explain away. The turning point, the moment suspicion hardened into near certainty, came unexpectedly. I was resting on the living room sofa, drifting in and out of a light doze. The door to the kitchen was slightly ajar and I heard Mira on the phone, her voice low and guarded. She must have thought I was fast asleep. No, it's taking longer than I thought, she murmured, frustration coloring her usually smooth tones. Pause. She's tougher than she looks, I suppose. Another pause, then impatience sharpening her voice. Well, what else can I do? I can't exactly smother her with a pillow. This way is cleaner. Slower, yes, but it just looks like she's fading naturally. Samir suspects nothing. A short, bitter laugh. He just thinks I'm an angel caring for his poor, grieving mother. Another pause. The house, the money, it will all be ours soon enough. We just need a little more patience. A few more months. Fading naturally. Cleaner. It will all be ours. The blood drained from my face, leaving my skin cold and clammy despite the warm afternoon. She wasn't just wishing me gone, she was actively causing it. The overheard words confirmed my deepest, most terrifying fears. This wasn't negligence or bad cooking. This was cold-blooded, calculated, attempted murder disguised as loving care. Fear, sharp and icy, gripped me. But alongside it, something else ignited, a spark of fury, a primal instinct to survive. I wasn't going to fade away. I wasn't going to let her win. But I was weak, isolated. Who would believe me? Samir was completely under her spell. The doctor had dismissed me. I felt utterly alone, trapped in my own home with my would-be killer. I became cunning. Survival demanded it. I started playing the part of the frail, fading invalid even more convincingly while secretly fighting back. I found excuses for every meal she pushed on me. My stomach is too upset today, Mira. I think I'll just have some plain toast. The smell is making me feel nauseous. I took tiny portions, scraping most of the food into napkins hidden in my pocket when she turned her back, flushing it down the toilet later. It was a risky game. If she caught on, what would she do? Escalate? Become more desperate? I noticed that on the days I managed to eat only food I prepared myself, a piece of fruit, dry crackers, a boiled egg I quickly cooked while she was supposedly doing laundry, the fog in my head lifted slightly. The dizziness lessened. The metallic taste was absent. It was subtle, but it was proof enough for me. My lifeline was Sarah, my doctor friend. I had to reach her, tell her everything, pray she would believe me. Mira monitored the phone, screened my infrequent emails. Getting a message out felt like planning an escape from a high-security prison. I waited for Mira's weekly supervised outing, taking me for a short, slow walk in the park where she never left my side. But this week she developed a headache and sent me with Samir instead. It was my chance. While Samir was briefly distracted buying us water, I slipped away to a bench slightly hidden by bushes and frantically dialed Sarah's number on the cheap burner phone I'd managed to buy online and hide. My hands shook so badly I could barely press the numbers. Sarah, I whispered, my voice trembling. It's Anjali. I'm in trouble. Serious trouble. I think Mira is trying to kill me. I poured out a rushed, panicked version of my suspicions. Sarah, bless her, didn't hesitate. Anjali, calm down. Where are you? Can you meet me? Tomorrow? Cafe near my clinic, 11 a.m. Can you get away? We made the plan quickly before Samir returned, his face showing mild annoyance at my disappearance. I tucked the burner phone away, my heart pounding like a drum against my ribs. The next day, feigning a sudden desire to visit a specific craft store near Sarah's clinic, I managed to convince Samir to drop me off, promising to call him when I was done. Mira looked suspicious but didn't object too strongly. Meeting Sarah felt like reaching a safe harbor in a hurricane. I looked so frail, so unlike the vibrant friend she knew, that her professional concern was immediate. I laid it all out. The symptoms, the timeline, Mira's behavior, the overheard conversation, the metallic taste. Then, producing the small, carefully sealed plastic container from my bag, I pushed it towards her. This was from a special health smoothie she made me yesterday morning. I pretended to drink it but saved some. Sarah, please, you have to help me. Test this. Test me. Sarah examined the container, then looked deep into my eyes. The skepticism I feared wasn't there. Instead, I saw dawning horror. Anjali, she said, her voice low and serious. Your symptoms, the chronic fatigue, the neurological issues, the gastrointestinal distress, the weight loss despite normal blood work. It's classic for slow heavy metal poisoning. Arsenic, maybe lead, thallium, things they don't routinely test for. He took the sample. I know a private toxicology lab. We'll bypass the standard channels for now. I'll need your blood and a hair sample too. Hair holds evidence for months. We need proof, Anjali. Undeniable proof. The week waiting for the results was pure torture. I lived on high alert, every interaction with Mira fraught with terror. I feigned worsening symptoms to explain my minimal eating, playing the role of the dying woman she wanted me to be. She seemed almost smug, her sympathy overlaying a chilling impatience. Then Sarah called, her voice tight with controlled fury. Anjali, meet me. Now. At the cafe, she laid the report on the table. Arsenic, she repeated, the word like a death sentence Mira had tried to pronounce. Consistent with chronic low-dose exposure. It's in the smoothie. It's in your system. Significant levels. Anjali, she was absolutely poisoning you. This is attempted murder. The validation washed over me, followed by a wave of cold, clarifying rage. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't fading from grief. I was fighting for my life. Sarah was already on her feet. We're going to the police. Right now. With this. At the police station, Detective Miller listened, his face grim, occasionally interrupting with sharp questions. Sarah presented the medical evidence, the toxicology reports. It was undeniable. They believed me. But Miller cautioned against immediate confrontation. She might destroy evidence or worse, he warned. We need a warrant. We'll raid the house, search her belongings. We need to catch her with the source if possible. Can you hold on for another day or two? Act normal. Acting normal felt like an Oscar-worthy performance I wasn't sure I could deliver, but I nodded. My safety and justice depended on it. They planned the raid for Friday evening. The wait was agonizing. Every sip of water, every bite of plain toast I allowed myself felt like a victory, while Mira bustled around humming, occasionally sighing dramatically about my decline to Samir. Friday evening. I insisted on making my own simple dinner. Plain rice, steamed carrots. Mira watched, a flicker of annoyance in her eyes that I wasn't eating her food, but she likely saw it as the final stages, my appetite completely gone. Samir arrived home oblivious, chatting about work. We sat at the table, the silence punctuated only by the clink of cutlery on plates. My stomach churned with dread and anticipation. Then Mira stood up, her smile overly bright. I made a special dessert just for you, Mom. Your favorite rice pudding. Extra cinnamon. She emerged from the kitchen carrying a single, small bowl, steam rising invitingly. She placed it directly in front of me. Eat up, she urged, her voice like honey laced with venom. I stared at the innocent-looking pudding, knowing it was likely laced with death. My heart hammered against my ribs. Suddenly, A sharp, authoritative knock echoed through the house. Before Samir could react, the front door opened and Detective Miller entered, flanked by 2 uniformed officers. The air crackled with tension. Samir leaped to his feet. "Officers? What's wrong? Is everything okay?" Mira froze, her hand hovering near the pudding bowl. Her eyes went wide, flicking from the police to me, panic dawning on her face. "Mira Sharma?" Detective Miller's voice cut through the room, calm and commanding. "Why, yes." Her voice was a thin thread. "Mira Sharma, you are under arrest for the attempted murder of Anjali Sharma." The words struck like lightning. Samir staggered back, uttering a choked gasp. "Attempted murder? Mira, what is happening? This is insane." He looked wildly between us, desperate for an explanation that made sense. Mira whirled on me, her face contorting into a mask of rage and desperation. "Tell them, Mom. Tell them it's a lie. You're confused. You don't know what you're saying." I met her frantic gaze. The fear was gone, replaced by a cold, steady resolve. "No, Mira," I said, my voice clear and strong despite the tremor in my hands. "It's not a lie. The police know what you've been doing. The poison, Mira. My food. Day after day. What? For this house. For my money. Poison." Samir whispered, his face turning ghost white. He stared at Mira, true comprehension finally breaking through his denial. The pieces clicked into place. My illness, her constant presence, my weight loss, her control. His expression crumpled into one of utter devastation. "Lies. It's all lies." Mira shrieked, losing control completely. "She's imagining things. She's always hated me." "We have toxicology reports, ma'am," Detective Miller stated firmly, nodding towards the pudding. "Confirming arsenic poisoning. I suspect we might find the source nearby." Mira's denials dissolved into incoherent sobs, not of remorse, but of thwarted rage. The carefully constructed facade shattered, revealing the calculating monster beneath. Samir just stared at her, speechless, tears streaming down his face as he witnessed the destruction of everything he thought he knew about his wife. The officers stepped forward, reciting her rights as they clicked handcuffs onto her wrists. The sound echoed in the shocked silence. As they led her away, still spitting denials and accusations, her eyes met mine one last time. They held pure, undiluted hatred. But looking at her diminished, pathetic figure being escorted out of my house, I felt nothing but cold, hard relief, justice, and survival. The aftermath was a slow return to quiet normalcy, but a genuine one this time. The police found the arsenic-based pesticide hidden cleverly among Mira's crafting supplies, along with damning internet search history. Faced with irrefutable evidence, she confessed her motive: greed, pure and simple. She saw me as an inconvenient obstacle to the inheritance and lifestyle she craved. Her trial was swift, the conviction secure. She received a long prison sentence, disappearing from our lives if not from our memories. My physical recovery was gradual, guided by Sarah's expertise. The toxins slowly leached from my system. My energy returned, the dizziness faded, the aches subsided. Eating became a simple pleasure again, not a source of fear. I regained the weight I'd lost, my reflection slowly starting to look like me again. The emotional healing is ongoing. Trust is fragile, especially when shattered so profoundly by family. My relationship with Samir was the most significant casualty besides my health. He was drowning in guilt and self-recrimination for his blindness, for unknowingly facilitating Mira's horrific plan. It took months of raw, painful conversations, professional therapy for him, and immense patience on both our parts to even begin rebuilding. We are closer now, bonded by trauma and a shared understanding, but the scar tissue remains. He visits often, his eyes still holding a shadow of the horror, but also a deep, protective love. Today my house is my sanctuary once more. I tend Raj's roses, host my book club, enjoy long lunches with Sarah, savoring the simple peace Mira tried to steal. I learned that evil can wear the sweetest smile, that vulnerability can be exploited in the cruelest ways. But I also discovered a strength within myself I never knew existed: the will to survive, to fight back, to reclaim my life from the brink. Mira wanted me to fade away into nothingness. Instead, I stand here, breathing, living, stronger in the broken places. And that is the most profound justice of all.